Let's start with a question. What if I told you that everything we've been taught about leadership, that whole idea of the visionary genius leading from the front, is wrong? And what if the most powerful thing a modern leader can actually do is follow? Well, today we're going to unpack exactly that. We'll see why the idea of the all-knowing hero leader is officially obsolete and how the future really belongs to those who master the art of followership. Wow, that's a pretty bold statement from Ronald Heifetz at Harvard, right? Bankrupt. But you know what? He's not wrong. For decades, we've been clinging to a model of leadership that is fundamentally broken. And this broken model, it comes with a real, measurable cost. A massive one, in fact. Get ready for this number. $8.9 trillion. With a T. That's the estimated cost of employee disengagement across the globe, every single year. So where does that staggering number come from? Well, research points the finger directly at managers. They account for a whopping 70% of that variance. It's the clearest signal you could ask for that the old top-down approach just isn't working anymore. So, if the old way is broken, what actually works? It's this fascinating idea we're calling the leader-follower paradox. You see, the most successful leaders today, people like Satya Nadella at Microsoft or Mary Barra at GM, they figured out the secret. Their greatest strength isn't having all the answers, it's knowing when to follow the expertise that's already on their teams. So in this explainer, we're going to tear down that old myth and show you why leadership and followership are really just two sides of the same very powerful coin. But before we can really understand where we're going, we kind of have to know where we've been. So where did this whole heroic leader idea even come from? Let's take a look at the origin story. You can see our whole concept of leadership has been evolving for almost 200 years. It all started back in the 1840s with this great man theory. The idea that leaders are just born different, born heroic. Then, by the 50s, we shifted gears and realized it's more about what leaders do. By the 70s, the focus moved to the relationship with followers. And that brings us to today, where we finally get it. Leadership isn't about one person at all. It's a team sport. It's a shared process. Yeah, the solo hero? Officially a relic of the past. Okay, so that's the history. But what about the hard science? Well, it turns out our own brains can give us a crystal clear picture of why this new collaborative way of leading is just so much more effective. Just think about what happens inside your head. When a boss just commands you to do something, no questions asked, your brain's threat center, the amygdala, it just lights up. You get defensive, you shut down. But when you're consulted, when you're asked for your input, boom, a completely different part of your brain engages, the prefrontal cortex. That's your hub for creativity, for learning, for insight. The science is undeniable. Our brains are literally wired to work better when we're included, not controlled. And all of this leads us to the single most critical ingredient for any high-performing team, psychological safety. It was defined by Harvard's Amy Edmondson, and it's really just the shared belief that you won't get punished or humiliated for speaking up. And it's not just a nice idea. Google's famous Project Aristotle confirmed it's the #1 thing that sets great teams apart from the rest. And get this, creating that feeling of safety delivers incredibly real results. It's not some fluffy, feel-good concept. The research shows that teams who feel safe enough to take risks and speak their minds don't just feel better, they complete their projects 32% faster. This isn't a soft skill, it's a straight-up strategic advantage. So the big question is, how do you build that safety? Well, it really starts with one simple thing, listening. And I mean really listening. Just look at this chart. The impact is incredible. Leaders who are poor listeners barely even register on the trust scale, way down at the 15th percentile. But great listeners, they soar all the way to the 86th. Listening isn't passive. It's the active ingredient for building the trust that fuels everything else. And that trust, it unlocks everything. We're talking about massive increases in engagement and productivity, a huge drop in burnout, and people who are just plain more satisfied with their lives. This is the tangible, real-world result you get when leaders finally choose to listen and follow the expertise that's all around them. Okay, so the science is solid, the data is compelling, but what does this look like out in the wild? Does this actually work in real companies? You bet it does. Let's look at some proof. Let's rewind to Microsoft in 2014. Before Satya Nadella took over as CEO, the company's culture was, well, famously toxic. It was intensely competitive, a classic know-it-all environment where you had to have all the answers. But then Nadella came in and did a complete 180. He flipped the script and championed what he called a learn-it-all culture. It was all about empathy, curiosity, and actually listening to the engineers and customers. It was a radical shift away from commanding and toward curiosity. And the result of that cultural shift? Well, Microsoft's market value absolutely exploded. It went from around $300 billion to over $3 trillion. That's not a typo. That's a tenfold increase, driven by a leader who chose to enable a learn-it-all culture instead of being a know-it-all hero. And hey, this is not just a tech story. It works everywhere. Netflix builds its whole culture on giving people context, not control. ING Bank saw customer satisfaction skyrocket after they reorganized into agile, empowered squads. And in healthcare, this kind of collaborative leadership has been linked to saving actual lives. The principle is universal. So we've seen the science and we've seen the proof. But here's the most crucial part. This isn't just for CEOs of trillion-dollar companies. This new model applies to every single one of us, on every team, at every level. It's your turn to lead and to follow. We have to completely redefine what it means to be a follower. The myth is that it's a passive, weak, inferior role. The reality? It's the exact opposite. Effective followership is an active, courageous, and absolutely essential partnership. And get this, the core attributes you need to be a great follower are the exact same ones you need to be a great leader. So what does that actually look like? Well, author Ira Shalev gives us this powerful framework. It's all about courage, the courage to assume responsibility and serve the mission. But it doesn't stop there. It's also the courage to challenge bad ideas, the courage to be an active part of transformation, and ultimately, the courage to take moral action. This isn't about blindly obeying. It's about being an active partner in creating success. And really, this quote from Simon Sinek just nails it perfectly. The job of a leader isn't to be the hero with all the answers. The job of a leader is to be the architect of an environment where great ideas can happen, no matter who they come from. So let's end with this. The next time you walk into a meeting or start a new project, just ask yourself this question. Where can I ask a question instead of giving an answer? Whose expertise can I defer to? How will I choose, courageously, to lead by following?